Many of you are asking me a question of how did I end up on radio? How did I begin my career on radio? Now, let me tell you the whole story of how I started my career on radio. Around 2013, I was just fresh from university. I was done with my education. And I had a job by then. I was working with one of the telecom companies as a customer service agent. I was working with MTN in the customer service department. But at the same time, I was also doing stand-up comedy. It's something I really wanted, and I was like, let me try stand-up comedy. So in the process of doing stand-up comedy, I got to meet quite a number of people. And one of the persons I met was Dolibondo Felix. He calls himself Dolibondo Anstress Ababangida. He was a comedian who used to perform at Laughter's Comedy Lounge. So I joined the group at Laughter's to perform with them in comedy. Now, since Dolibondo became my close friend, every time we were going to performing, he would call me through and he's like, yeah, Jan, we get performing here and there. Then I would go and perform with him, and you get. So one day, we start performing. He takes me to a place called Temptations in Bogolobi. Now, Temptation was the former Virgin Island. It was a popular place. Later, when he takes me to Temptations, I started doing comedy shows over there. I'd never met the owner, like personally, but I never interacted. Like, let's talk, let's have a discussion. But I would see him sometimes when we come to the bar to inspect. So then one day we're chilling at Laughter's actually. At Laughter's, Dolibondo had his laptop and he was talking on phone about a radio that was going to open up, and they wanted employees, all those things. I think he had information. He was contacted. Nemugamba Dolibondo, you know what? Take me through also. I would want to try my luck on radio. He told me, Nja mugamba omusajja. And he didn't get back to me that day. Teyangamba whether I had called him or not. But then I said, no, I really want to work on radio. I need to do something to make sure at least this guy gets to know. Now, like I told you, I used to work at MTN. Now, that evening, I was working the moonlight shift. I went to work. In my break, I started Googling about radios. How does a presenter, how does the program look like, the segments, how do they place them, and all that stuff. So I did my research, my homework. I wrote down a few things, typed a few things. Then I also called. When I asked him, can you give me the number of the guy who owns the other bar? You have to call it a comedy. So he gives me the number. Now, by then I was calling Mr. Now, Dr. Nahabwe, Dr. Innocent. Mukubire simu mugamba, I said, well, hi. This is the guy. You usually see me at the comedy shows at your place. I heard you have a radio station. Can I please come through? And he told me, yeah, you can come through. Come to Club Amnesia. Bring me your application. Now, he also owned Club Amnesia by then. I didn't know where Club Amnesia was actually. Like, like I didn't know where Club Amnesia was. So I write my CV, I write the radio program, like I was prepared, let me tell you. Then I asked a few friends, they told me, again, that one, you'll find that place. So I went to Club Amnesia, entered. When I saw him, Nangamba, this is okay. What you can do at 2 p.m., come to Galaxy, we have a training. We have, was it a training? There was something, they were looking for presenters, so they wanted to qualify some people. I called my boss, I tell him, you know what, something has happened. I called my supervisor at MTN, I tell him, you know, something has happened, I won't be able to show up. And you know, all those, that drama and the lies. So I went up for the interview. Now, remember, by the time when I went to radio, I phoned Dolibondo, Yaliyo, because radio had information. Nange mwega tako. There was also another guy called Sheikh Manara. Yaliyo. It was my first time to see him. Yaliyo. Then Prim was there. Prim was she used to work with another company within the premises, Blue Cube, and somehow to see if we could do something. So we went in for the interview. When we went in for the interview, we're doing a simulation where they sit you down and trying to see whether you guys can do a program. I sat with the guys, we agreed on a few things, and then they're like, to Kole. So Roger Mugisha was our trainer by then, and he came through. I was excited to see him, and I'm like, wow, this guy, he is the one training us. Like, it was exciting. So Netutula, and then when we started doing our thing, somewhere I think it came out the way they wanted it. It was hilarious. It was also Manalangali, very funny. Dolibondo was funny. Prim with the English and now Wolf coming through with things like, it was really a whole mix of things. So they told us, the four of you, can you find a name for a program, blah, 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 and all those things. I can't really recall where the name Evening Rush came from, Kugogoro, but somehow it came through as a name, and we were the first 4 people who did the evening drive on Galaxy FM. Now, that day of the interview, when I went to Galaxy to do the interview, actually, there were so many people that were doing interviews. I remember I saw Ann Kansime by then. She was there. MC Kapale was there. There was a guy called Don Kazova, the late. I met Sheikh Manara there. Quite a number of people. Kotila, Inapo, but mostly some of them were coming from the comedy fraternity and some from the entertainment fraternity, mainly. That's where most of the people came from. Zabasinga Navarabirao. That was my first time. So, taking you back to the program, we now started doing practices on the show. Now we started developing skills on how to speak on the microphone. We started assuming characters on air. By then I was doing a character of a Muchiga guy, and they were calling me Rugendo. Rugendo was my actual, was my radio name by then, Ngamampita Rugendo, which name I really didn't like so much. Despite the fact that, yes, I speak Ruchiga, Nyankole mixed together. The radio wanted somebody who was a character of a Nyankole Muchiga character. But then the challenge would come in when my personality on radio would clash with my personality outside. Because personally, nze njogera Oluganda luli lwennyini sadida ndoogerera ddala n'okulumalayo. And when I would be out, because people are used to you being Rugendo on air, who speaks in a Chichiga Nyangole accent, sometimes you had to maintain the same accent in Ogenze Wabwere, which wasn't really easy for me. And I felt like it was a bit very, very hard for me. It is a character that I didn't really assume. Nempuliranga kugamba njamba de bulungi, and I want to have it all through. But as the radio kept growing and going through a series of transformations, a few changes were done, and some of the members on the show were dropped. I remember Dolibondo was dropped off the show. After some time, Manara also was dropped off the show. It was one hard period, because the radio was going through a transformation. The owners were also trying to find ways of making sure the radio is profitable. And it was a lot of stuff going on. And then that's how I ended up doing the night show. So I was given a chance to try out myself in the late night show to see if I could do something in that area. So the show was talking about love, sex, relationships. And I went and did one show, and they were like, Ojasigarao. So that's how I ended up in the night show, which I've been doing for about, I think, 6 to 7 years. I've been doing the night show, and I've been hosting it from 10 p.m. to midnight. So that was my journey on how I got on Galaxy FM, and for those of you who wanted to know.